Sports Limelight, episode 54. Hello, Drew.
Good evening, Bill, and happy hump day to you.
Happy hump day to you as well.
This is the first time we've done a podcast on a Wednesday.
It might be.
So episode 54 in Studio 54. What are we going to talk about?
Shane Conlon edition, right? Did he wear 54?
I think so. Right on, man.
All right. I couldn't think of a giant. With all the great linebackers they had over the years. Yeah. Not a prominent 54.
So, Bill, it's even though it's Wednesday, we're still talking about this Monday night game. Do you happen to watch it?
I didn't watch it live. I saw the highlights. What a debacle at the end with the replacement referees. It seemed like it was only a matter of time.
As an NFL fan, it's very disappointing. I'm just so confused at how they were able to get it wrong after they watched the replay.
Yeah.
But as a human being,
which you are,
to me, it's kind of funny how this billion-dollar organization created by humans still has these inconsistencies.
It's like a Ferrari with like a really cheap interior.
Mm-hmm.
We were sort of told before the season, or the theory was before the season, that these guys would get better as the season goes on, but that might not necessarily be true. They could just seem to be getting more incompetent.
Yeah, I heard that they are close to striking a deal, though, with
hopefully
the current refs. So, but yeah, it's just kind of disheartening when you see stuff like this, and who knows? These refs could be intimidated by the home crowd or the coaches or whatnot. But
yeah. Players as well. Belichick was fined $50,000 for accosting a referee last week.
Wow, was it recorded?
And another coach fined Redskins offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan $25,000.
I didn't read what happened to him. What did he do?
Well, he berated an official in the final seconds of the Redskins' 38-31 loss on Sunday, and then also confronted an official in a stadium tunnel after the game.
Oh wow! Don't really see this much in the NFL after now that the replacement refs are here.
Yep, like substitute teachers. And speaking of the Redskins now, we go to our guest for the evening. Hello, Chris.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, Chris. Good evening.
What up, Drew?
Welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks. It's been a while.
It has. It's been too long. Glad you joined us.
That's partly my schedule and so forth, but it's always a pleasure being here.
Wanted to get your thoughts on the Redskins. 1-2, two tough losses in a row with kind of mental errors at the end leading to their demise. But what we thought the bigger issue going on right now was kind of leaning on the option offense too much, and Robert Griffin III taking all these hits. Do you think he can hold up over a season like this, or does something have to give?
I think something is much more likely to give. It's either going to be his body or the option, because one problem is there's a reason the option stayed in college for so long. They weren't these huge, massive dudes just slamming the crap out of your quarterback every time. I think they said Robert Griffin was something like 225 pounds. Your average lineman's, 310?
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of give, and considering Robert Griffin isn't necessarily running forward, he's running at an angle. That way he can actually toss the option. He's not going straight forward. He doesn't have the momentum a lineman's going to have when he's going straight at him as opposed to sideways. So it's more likely the body or the play.
And there are times you're kind of most vulnerable when you're pitching the ball off in the option and you get smacked right after that or during, which happened on one of the plays where he fumbled.
Definitely. And if I'm not mistaken, one of the critical rules of the option play is the moment that quarterback starts running, he no longer has the protection by the rules of being a quarterback.
Nice.
So he's much more open to physical tackles in a way that a pocket quarterback isn't.
Well, I hope for his sake that Shanahan starts getting rid of this option stuff.
I think that's going to be worked out as defenses get used to seeing the Redskins run the option.
Right.
Yeah, they really caught the Saints by surprise with it in week 1.
Yeah, and this last week showed defenses were actually able to key in on it within about a second and a half of the option beginning. And you need a little bit more time than that for the option to work.
It's not like he hasn't shown flashes of being a really good pocket passer. He has the accuracy for it. So
yeah, he has had some passes that were incredibly accurate. They were accurate in a way you would not expect from a rookie quarterback with that much responsibility put on him.
Right.
That dude can just put it where it needs to be on some occasions that were really quite astounding.
Yeah, I think just because you have a fast quarterback or a quarterback that can run doesn't mean that's what he has to do. If it'll make him easier to, avoid sacks and tackles, but, have running play specifically for the quarterback, I think is bad in the long run.
Yeah, as we've seen through the history of the NFL, running quarterbacks are not exactly successful. Randall Cunningham, not exactly a running quarterback, but he could have that mobility in the way we look at Michael Vick when he was coming up and a couple others. They don't seem to excel at the professional level.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers is the template now where he's a passer that can hurt you most with his arm, but he can scramble whenever needed and get you the first down.
Right, because the key as a quarterback is if the first few passes aren't there and there's pressure, you need to be able to extend the play. How many times have you heard about that with a quarterback who can get out of the pocket when he's in trouble? Almost all of the greats. And so the key for a mobile quarterback is just to extend the play. If you can run it when the whole play is broken down, great. But you can't rely on the running factor that much because you expose your quarterback to too much damage over the course of his career, especially in just a one-year time frame.
What's the goal of this? I mean, this seems like such a short-term solution.
Well, my thought goes back to the first time I was talking with you guys on the show. I was saying that I thought Andrew Luck would fare better career-wise over the long haul than Robert Griffin because Shanahan is in a win-now scenario.
You did say that.
And this is his best option for right now. Use my quarterback's mobility to try and get wins, and that's what he's doing.
All right, now, guys, we have rare audio of Mike Shanahan talking to Robert Griffin in the locker room.
I hope you like pain.
Man, hope you like pain. And we also have Robert Griffin's response to that.
You want me to show you tough? I'll show you tough.
Man, this guy's a warrior, man. So, Chris, what's your thoughts on this week's game against the Buccaneers?
I think pretty much all rules are off for this season, and it's not necessarily because of the referees. For whatever reason, things are just askew. The Packers seem to be holding steady. Referee issues there. Patriots seem to be holding steady. But outside of that, Indy's gone. Denver has to get it together with Peyton there. You have the Giants. But, you look at the Saints. They had this whole offseason, what was it called?
Bounty Gate?
Sure, however you want to phrase it. But that seems to have just completely thrown off the whole Saints organization. That's why they lost in Week 1 to the Redskins.
And Week 2 and Week 3, huh?
Well, I mean, you lost to the Redskins Week 1.
Oh, right.
To a rookie quarterback in his first NFL game. That team was just not together, and they're going to keep having problems. But if you look at the big names over the past 5 to 7 years, the Patriots and the Packers are the only ones who seem to have held it together. You look at the Ravens, the offense is on the way up, defense is on the way down. Things are changing at the moment. The refereeing, as bad as it is, isn't necessarily the deciding factor in any of these games.
Yeah, this has been an interesting season. Teams like the Cardinals and the Seahawks are doing better, while the Niners and Patriots are kind of slowing down.
Yeah, the Cardinals are 3-0. Our starting quarterback gets injured. We bring in Kevin Kolb, the most injured of all injured quarterbacks who ever started, and win, 3 games in a row. It's baffling.
Do you think we'll see the regular refs back anytime soon, Chris?
I will take an interesting point of view on this one. Bad refereeing, in a weird way, is good for the NFL.
Ooh.
Look at how much attention the Seahawks-Packers blown call created. The NFL is all about attention. Attention turns into people watching the game on TV, which increases revenues for commercials. People are going to be tuning in and wondering, what the hell is going on? This isn't replacement football where the product is bad. We have a situation where the rule of the game kind of doesn't count at the moment. That is a very interesting thing people will pay attention to. It might be negative attention, but it is still attention.
There's definitely that train wreck factor of tuning in to just see what are these replacements going to screw up next.
Not to compare it to a reality TV show, but that's exactly why the Jersey Shore was so popular. How bad can this really get? I think they've still got a lot of messing up to do in them. It looked like it was close to the deal being done. And then reports started coming out, a half hour later, oh, they're not nearly as close as you thought.
I wonder if that was truly a negotiating ebb and flow or just Chris Mortensen jumping the gun.
I want to say it's jumping the gun. Everyone has their own weird influences. ESPN, being the biggest sports network, probably has certain financial ties with all of the sports industries.
Oh, yeah.
And one person might try and force an issue one way or the other, not necessarily in opposition to what the network wants or to what the sport wants, but still there's that concern, why did he come out that quickly and say this when just a little bit later, oh, wait a minute, we got to backtrack just a step or two.
Leaking out a false claim that maybe the sources are, the two parties are getting close to a deal is probably a good tactic for the NFL, because it makes the referees either force them to get a deal or else they will look bad by not getting a deal.
Yeah, you have Chris Mortensen saying we're close to a deal. Next report, oh, we're not that close. Well, who's the one backtracking?
Right.
You want to say the NFL, but as a sports fan, you want to say it's the refs because we already don't like refs. And that's kind of like an instinctual thing to say as a sports fan. It's the refs.
Right.
Yeah, these stuffy, no-fun guys.
Your team loses. It's always the refs, regardless of the sport.
Unless it's the NBA when it's actually true.
Or you're a lifelong Cardinal fan. No apologies to Cardinal fans. So fact or fiction, and this is just a pop-up question,
nice,
harkening back to one of our last ones.
Love it.
After this next weekend of bad refereeing, we will see the deal with the refs in the NFLs come to a close.
I'm going to go with fact. I think after this weekend, the refs in NFL come to an agreement.
Fiction, the NFL has already lost with what happened with Packers Seahawks, but to make a deal so soon after that is like admitting defeat. Goodell is too stubborn. Some of the owners are too stubborn. I think this debacle is going to make them just let it go on longer now.
I'm also going to say fiction, but I'm going to base that off of how the NFL responded to the blown call. They were ready to point out that there was a pass interference call missed. However, they defended the poor interpretation of what happened on the field. They were saying that both players got the ball at the same time and equally had possession when they came down. Therefore, tie goes to the runner, or in this case, the receiver. Clearly, in every replay footage you can find, that was not the case. But the NFL stood by that and only called out the missed pass interference.
Man.
And being willing to stand by that shows their determination not to give in to the refs.
Nothing to see here. Move along.
Nothing behind the curtain.
I missed Ed Hockley.
Yeah, it's weird to say that you miss the refs.
I'm going to give them a standing ovation when they return.
And that's the one time they'll feel good about what they do.
I hope they come out in a sea of fog and everyone announces their names.
He's got stripes on. I'm cheering. Well, guys, fun as always.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, Chris, thanks for being on the show.
You always bring it. You bring the insight.
Or a little bit of a skewed view. I'll settle with that.
And we love that. Thanks, Chris. When we come back, our Week 4 picks, Drew.
Yes, I'm excited.
Sports Limelight, episode 54. Please join us for part 2.